Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, so today we're digging into something pretty fascinating happening in crypto. The reports we've been looking at, market analyses, they're all pointing towards this really significant shift. And honestly, Ether is just, it's stealing the spotlight right now. Our mission today is really to unpack these recent moves, try to understand why Ether's performance has been so strong, especially compared to, the old guard, Bitcoin.
That's exactly right. We're aiming to go a bit deeper than the headlines, to really pull out the key insights from all this data. We want to explain the forces underneath it all and hopefully help you, the listener, really get the significance of these market shifts. And we'll be looking closely at the role of institutional money for big players and how that's reshaping how investors are feeling. It feels like a key moment.
It really does feel pivotal. And I mean, when you look at the actual numbers, July, wow. It's stark. Ether prices didn't just edge up. They surged past $3,940. That's a massive 60% gain just in July.
60%, yeah.
Now, put that next to Bitcoin. Bitcoin did, an 11% increase in the same time frame.
Yeah.
Which is solid. Don't get me wrong, but, it just gets completely overshadowed by Ether's run. It really put Ether in its own category for July returns. One analysis even called it the new sheriff in town.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating here isn't just the percentage gain itself, it's the signal it sends. It's such a clear sign of capital rotation, money moving.
But from Bitcoin to Ether.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're seeing this very obvious shift. Now, altcoin season, that's a term people throw around, right?
Yeah.
But this feels, a bit different, more strategic maybe. It seems less about just chasing small quick pumps and more like a calculated move into a proven large foundational asset. Bitcoin's already hit some major milestones, fulfilled a lot of that store value idea for many, but our sources are showing traders, maybe more sophisticated ones, actively moving capital out of Bitcoin now and into things like Ethereum, other big smart contract platforms, looking for growth tied more to actual ecosystem building.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, especially when you look at the momentum Ether has. It's now, less than 20% away from its all-time high, around $4,800.
Getting close.
And being that close to a record price. You can see why traders might be thinking, okay, if it breaks $4,000, is this just the beginning? There's definitely a buzz, a kind of anticipation around Ethereum right now, isn't there?
Absolutely there is. And that capital shift we mentioned, it really points to a fundamental rethink. Investors are reconsidering where the next big gains might come from. Bitcoin's made huge moves. It's established itself as, digital gold for many. But the story around Ethereum is changing. It's looking more and more like the base layer for this whole decentralized digital economy. And that makes its current momentum pretty compelling.
Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting, I think. Because this surge, it feels different from just, retail excitement or day trading. We're talking about serious institutional money flowing into Ethereum. This is what the reports are calling whale conviction. Big money placing big strategic bets.
Exactly.
Like take Sharp Blank Gaming. Get this. Over one weekend, they added 77,210 ETH. That's a $295 million buy.
Wow. In a weekend.
Yeah. And it brought their total holdings to over 438,000 ETH. That's worth over $1.6 billion now. This isn't just someone dabbling. It's a public company making a major strategic allocation.
Precisely. And it's not just them. You see other signs too, like the VC guy, Peter Thiel, revealed a 9.1% stake in BitMine.
Oh yeah, the crypto miner.
That's the one. And BitMine holds over $500 million worth of ETH. The reports frame this as a massive vote of confidence. It just shows that institutional footprint getting bigger and bigger in Ethereum. And if you connect that to the bigger picture, these moves are super important. They don't just validate Ethereum to the traditional finance world. They also bring in huge amounts of liquidity and potentially, more long-term stability. It changes the whole conversation from just speculation to actual adoption, real utility. These institutions are betting on the underlying tech, the infrastructure.
And you can see that shift so clearly when you look at the ETFs, right? The exchange-traded funds.
Yeah.
The difference in institutional interest there lately is, it's night and day. Our sources point out that the spot Ethereum ETFs, they pulled in an incredible $1.85 billion in inflows just last week.
1.85 billion, yeah.
Now compare that to the Bitcoin spot ETFs in the same week. They only saw about $72 million.
72 million, huge gap.
It's a massive difference. It just screams that right now, institutional interest is heavily favoring Ethereum.
And just to add another layer to that BlackRock's ETH ETF, BlackRock, huge player.
Right.
Their Ethereum ETF now holds over $10 billion in assets. 10 billion.
Wow.
That one number tells you so much about the conviction level, the sheer scale of capital moving into Ether through these regulated channels. It really highlights how the wider financial industry is getting more comfortable integrating these digital assets. It suggests the market's maturing and the big institutions are ready to play in a big way. It's not just about price anymore. It's about this asset class going mainstream.
Okay, so putting all this together, the price surge, the capital rotation, the massive institutional buys, the ETF flows, what does it all actually mean for where crypto is heading? And maybe more importantly for you listening, how does it help us understand where innovation and investment are going in this whole space? Ethereum's market cap is like bumping up against $470 billion now. And you hear talk about the next big psychological number, $500 billion. It really feels like we're at some kind of turning point, doesn't it?
It really does. And, while Ether's had this amazing run, it's true that it still has, well, quite a way to go to hit its record market cap again. There's still heavy lifting needed, as one report put it. But maybe that gap itself is part of the appeal, especially for momentum traders. Seeing that potential upside, especially when Bitcoin's already been near its own highs, that gap might look pretty tempting.
Interesting point.
And those accelerating ETF inflows we talked about. It's not just about pushing the price up in the short term. It validates this fundamental change in how big investors view these assets.
And looking out, say, the rest of the year, the signs seem pretty positive for Ether, right? Beyond just the money flowing in.
Yeah, definitely. It's not just the ETFs. We're also seeing on-chain activity pick up, and that institutional sentiment seems to just keep growing. And when we say on-chain activity, what we mean is like real usage metrics, things like the number of transactions happening on Ethereum, the fees being generated, more unique wallets actually doing things on the network.
So actual usage, not just trading.
Exactly. It shows the network is being actively used for DeFi, for NFTs, for Web3 stuff. It's not just speculation fuel, it's concrete evidence of demand and utility.
Right.
And this ties into what some sources are arguing now, that Ether looks increasingly like the main character in crypto's next act, not just, a supporting player anymore.
The main character. I like that.
Yeah, and it's not just a catchy phrase, right? It points to a future where Ethereum's role in DeFi, NFTs, Web3, it puts it right at the center of how the digital economy is evolving. It's about that deep utility, that strong ecosystem it enables. And that's what's becoming really attractive to serious investors looking for long-term value, not just a quick flip.
That really frames it well. So just to quickly recap for everyone listening, what we saw in July was Ether really taking charge, performance-wise, driven by money clearly moving out of Bitcoin, and maybe most importantly, backed by really strong, sustained institutional buying, big money getting involved. All these things together really suggest Ether is set to play a huge, maybe even leading role in crypto's future. And understanding these kinds of shifts gives you hopefully some valuable insight into this evolving digital economy and where the smart money might be heading.
Absolutely. And this whole situation, it does raise a really interesting question, doesn't it? As more and more institutional money comes into digital assets like Ethereum, will the very definition of what makes a cryptocurrency valuable start to change? Maybe the market starts valuing utility more, the strength of the ecosystem, real-world use. Maybe more than just being the first mover like Bitcoin or having only that purely monetary story. It kind of suggests the whole space is growing up, maturing.
Exactly. It really makes you wonder what other big shifts, maybe unexpected ones, are happening just under the surface of these markets, challenging how we think about value. Definitely keep those questions coming, folks, and we promise we'll keep diving deep.